Ethan sat on a park bench, his worn clothes soaked by the relentless rain. People rushed by, umbrellas shielding them from the downpour, oblivious to his presence. He watched a family laughing together, the sight stirring memories of his own past filled with promise and success. His mind drifted back to his days as a CEO. He remembered the sleek office, the constant buzz of activity, and the respect he commanded. Ethan had built his company from the ground up, pouring every ounce of his energy into its success. His hard work had paid off, and he'd become a millionaire before his 40th birthday. The memory shifted to the day everything changed. His business partner, someone he trusted implicitly, had orchestrated an elaborate scheme to steal the company. Ethan recalled the shock and disbelief as he was presented with falsified documents and accusations of mismanagement. Before he could mount a defense, his reputation was in tatters, and his assets were frozen. The final blow came when his lawyer informed him of his impending bankruptcy. In a matter of weeks, Ethan had lost everything he'd spent years building. Back in the present, a group of teenagers approached. They snickered and pointed, making crude remarks about his appearance. Ethan felt a surge of anger and opened his mouth to retort, but the words died in his throat. He lowered his head, the pain of his fall from grace still raw. As the teens moved on, Ethan contemplated how quickly life could change. He'd gone from being admired and sought after to being invisible or, worse, a target of derision. The park, once a place he'd visited for leisure, had become his home. The weight of his losses pressed down on him, leaving him feeling vulnerable and alone in a world that had once been at his feet. Malik stood at the corner of a busy street, his paintings propped against a wall. Passers-by hurried past, barely glancing at his artwork. After hours without a single sale, Malik's enthusiasm waned. He'd poured his heart into these pieces, but the city seemed indifferent to his efforts. As he began to pack up, Malik's gaze fell on a disheveled man huddled in a doorway. Something about the man's posture, a mix of defeat and dignity, caught Malik's attention. Without fully understanding why, he felt drawn to the stranger. Counting the meager earnings from his day, Malik made a spontaneous decision. He walked to a nearby food truck and bought a hot meal. Approaching the man cautiously, Malik extended the food. "Excuse me, sir. Would you like something to eat?" The man looked up, surprise evident in his tired eyes. He hesitated before accepting the offering. "Thank you," he said, his voice rough from disuse. "I'm Ethan." "I'm Malik," the young artist replied, settling down nearby. "I hope you don't mind some company." As Ethan ate, Malik shared his struggles as an aspiring artist. He spoke of his family's pressure to pursue a real career and his determination to follow his passion despite the challenges. Ethan listened intently, occasionally nodding. When Malik finished, Ethan began to open up about his own past. He spoke of his former life as a successful businessman and the series of events that led to his current situation. Their conversation flowed easily, spanning topics from art to business to life's unpredictability. Malik found himself inspired by Ethan's resilience, while Ethan seemed to draw energy from Malik's youthful optimism. As evening approached, both men realized they'd found an unexpected connection. Malik promised to return the next day, and Ethan agreed to share more of his story. As they parted ways, both felt a small spark of hope. Malik for finding a mentor, and Ethan for rediscovering his ability to connect with others. Over the next few weeks, Malik and Ethan's meetings became a regular occurrence. Each day, Malik would arrive with his latest paintings, eager to show Ethan his progress. Ethan, drawing from his business experience, offered constructive feedback and advice on how to market Malik's art more effectively. Their conversations often stretched for hours, covering a wide range of topics. Ethan shared insights from his years in the corporate world, while Malik's fresh perspective on life and art challenged Ethan's long-held beliefs. Despite their different backgrounds, they found common ground in their shared experiences of struggle and resilience. Malik began introducing Ethan to other homeless individuals in the area. Slowly, a small community formed around them. Ethan, once isolated, now found himself part of a support network. He started helping others with practical advice on navigating social services and job applications. One evening, as they watched the sunset, Malik proposed an idea. "What if we create a community art project? We could tell the stories of people living on the streets through art. Ethan's eyes lit up. That's brilliant, Malik. It could change people's perceptions of homelessness. They spent the next few days discussing the project, brainstorming ideas, and planning how to involve others. Ethan's organizational skills complemented Malik's creativity, and soon they had a solid plan in place. As their friendship deepened, Ethan felt comfortable enough to share a secret he'd been keeping. "Malik, there's something I need to tell you," he said hesitantly. "I have a hidden bank account. It's not much, but it could be enough to get me back on my feet." Malik looked surprised. "Why haven't you used it?" Ethan sighed. "I've been afraid of failing again, of losing everything once more. But now, working on this project with you, I'm starting to see things differently." Malik nodded understandingly. "Whatever you decide, I'm here to support you, Ethan. That's what friends are for." As they continued planning their community art project, both men realized that their unexpected friendship had become a source of strength and hope for both of them. As Malik and Ethan's community art project gained momentum, an unexpected opportunity arose for Malik. An old friend from his neighborhood, now a successful but dubious businessman, approached him with a proposition. "Malik, I've got a deal that could set you up for life," his friend said, pulling him aside one day. "It's not entirely legal, but it's quick money and the connections could launch your art career. What do you say?" The offer left Malik conflicted. The promise of financial stability and a potential boost to his career was tempting, especially given his family's constant pressure to succeed. However, the illegal nature of the proposition went against everything he believed in. Torn, Malik sought out Ethan for advice. He found him at their usual meeting spot and explained the situation. Ethan listened carefully, his expression grave. "Malik, I've seen where shortcuts like these lead. The money might seem good now, but the cost to your integrity isn't worth it." Malik frowned. "But Ethan, you don't understand. My family is struggling. This could change everything for us." "I do understand," Ethan replied firmly. "I've faced similar temptations. But trust me, staying true to yourself is more important than any amount of money." Their conversation grew heated as Malik wrestled with his decision. He accused Ethan of not truly understanding his situation, while Ethan insisted that compromising one's values always led to regret. After days of internal struggle, Malik ultimately decided to reject his friend's offer. However, the decision left him feeling guilty about not being able to help his family financially. Seeing Malik's distress, Ethan approached him. "I'm proud of you, Malik," he said softly. "I know it wasn't an easy choice, but it was the right one." Malik nodded, still conflicted. "I just hope I can find a way to succeed without compromising who I am." "You will," Ethan assured him, "and we'll figure it out together. That's what this project is all about, isn't it? Finding our way on our own terms." As they resumed work on their art project, both men felt a renewed sense of purpose, strengthened by the challenges they'd faced together. Inspired by their conversations and experiences, Ethan and Malik threw themselves into planning their community art exhibition. They began by reaching out to other homeless individuals, encouraging them to share their stories through various artistic mediums. Malik taught basic painting techniques to those interested, while Ethan organized writing workshops. They set up a makeshift studio in an abandoned warehouse, transforming it into a bustling creative space. The project quickly gained momentum, with participants finding new ways to express their struggles and hopes. However, their enthusiasm was met with resistance from some members of the local community. During a city council meeting where Malik presented their project, several business owners voiced their concerns. "This will only attract more homeless people to our neighborhood," one shop owner argued. "It's bad for business." Another resident added, "Why waste resources on art when these people need real help?" Malik left the meeting feeling deflated. He found Ethan at their usual spot and recounted the negative reactions. "Maybe they're right," Malik sighed. "Maybe this is just a waste of time." Ethan shook his head firmly. "No, Malik. Art has the power to change perceptions. Remember why we started this? To give a voice to those who are often ignored. We can't give up now." Encouraged by Ethan's words, they decided to organize a community meeting to address concerns and showcase the project's potential. They prepared a presentation highlighting the positive impact of art on mental health and community cohesion. On the day of the meeting, the warehouse was packed. Malik and Ethan nervously took the stage. As they spoke about the project and introduced some of the artists, the atmosphere in the room began to shift. Skepticism gave way to curiosity, and some even expressed admiration for the initiative. One of the previously critical business owners approached them after the presentation. "I may have judged too quickly," he admitted. "How can we support this project?" As they left the meeting, Malik turned to Ethan with a grin. "We did it. They're starting to understand." Ethan nodded, feeling a sense of accomplishment he hadn't experienced in years. "This is just the beginning, Malik. We're going to make a real difference." With renewed determination, they returned to their work, more committed than ever to bringing their vision to life. As news of the community art project spread, it caught the attention of local media. A small newspaper ran an article featuring Ethan and Malik's initiative, highlighting their efforts to bridge the gap between the homeless community and the rest of the city. The article didn't go unnoticed. One morning, as Ethan was helping set up for the day's activities at the warehouse, he received an unexpected visitor. It was Robert, a former colleague from his days as a CEO. "Ethan, I almost didn't believe it when I saw your name in the paper," Robert said, looking around the makeshift studio with a mix of curiosity and admiration. After catching up briefly, Robert got to the point of his visit. "I'm heading a new investment firm now, Ethan. We're always looking for experienced business minds. I could use someone like you on my team." Ethan was stunned. "Are you offering me a job?" Robert nodded. "More than that. I'm offering you a chance to get back to your old life. Corner office, company car, the works. All you need to do is make a small investment to show your commitment. I know you've got something tucked away for a rainy day." The offer hit Ethan like a tidal wave. The prospect of returning to his former life was tempting. He thought about hot showers, comfortable beds, and not having to worry about his next meal. But as he looked around the warehouse at the art being created, at Malik instructing a group of eager learners, he felt a pang of uncertainty. I need some time to think about it," Ethan said finally. That evening, Ethan confided in Malik about Robert's offer. Malik listened intently, his expression unreadable. "What do you think I should do?" Ethan asked, his voice betraying his inner conflict. Malik was quiet for a moment before responding. "Ethan, you've taught me so much about staying true to myself. Now, I think you need to ask yourself, where do you feel you can make the biggest difference?" As Ethan pondered Malik's words, he realized that his decision would not just affect his life, but the lives of everyone involved in their project. The weight of the choice ahead felt heavier than ever. As Ethan grappled with his decision, Malik faced a crisis of his own. Late one night, his old friend, the one who had previously offered him the illegal opportunity, approached him with urgent news. "Malik, I need to warn you," his friend whispered, looking around nervously. "There's a big scheme in the works. Some powerful people are planning to buy up properties in this area dirt cheap. They're going to use the homeless situation to drive down prices, then gentrify everything." Malik was stunned. "How do you know this?" "I'm involved," his friend admitted. "But it's bigger than I thought. If this goes through, your art project, the whole community, it'll all be destroyed." The information weighed heavily on Malik. He knew he had to act, but the implications were daunting. The next morning, he sought out Ethan, finding him deep in thought about his own dilemma. "Ethan, we have a problem," Malik said, and proceeded to explain the situation. Ethan listened intently, his brow furrowing. "This is serious, Malik. We need to alert the community, but we have to be careful. These are powerful people we're dealing with." They spent the day strategizing, deciding to call an emergency meeting with key community members. As they prepared, tension mounted. Anonymous threats started appearing, notes left at the warehouse, whispered warnings from passers-by. The pressure took its toll on their relationship. Malik questioned whether they were in over their heads, while Ethan's resolve strengthened, reminding him of high-stakes business dealings from his past. "Maybe we should just walk away," Malik suggested during a moment of doubt. Ethan shook his head firmly. "No, Malik. This is exactly why our project is important. We're giving a voice to people who would be silenced by schemes like this." As the day of the meeting approached, the threats intensified. Malik and Ethan found themselves looking over their shoulders, wondering who they could trust. Despite the pressure, they pressed on with their plans. They knew that the future of their community and the lives of many vulnerable people hung in the balance. The crisis had evolved from a personal ethical dilemma to a fight for the soul of their neighborhood. Despite the looming threats, Ethan and Malik pushed forward with the final preparations for their art exhibition. The warehouse buzzed with activity as participants put finishing touches on their pieces. Ethan took charge of logistics, coordinating with local businesses for support and arranging security measures. His business acumen proved invaluable as he navigated permits and insurance requirements. Meanwhile, Malik focused on curating the artwork, ensuring each piece told a compelling story of life on the streets. The team worked tirelessly, often into the night. The stress of the situation brought moments of tension. During one late-night session, an argument erupted between two artists over space allocation. Ethan stepped in, his voice firm but fair, resolving the conflict with the diplomacy of his CEO days. Malik marveled at Ethan's leadership. "You know, you could easily be running a corporation right now," he remarked. Ethan smiled wryly. "Oddly enough, I feel more fulfilled here than I ever did in my corner office." As the exhibition date neared, the atmosphere grew tense. Skeptical glances from passers-by and whispered comments made everyone uneasy. Yet, there was also a sense of anticipation. Community members who had initially been hesitant began to show interest, some even offering to help. The day before the opening, Ethan and Malik stood in the transformed warehouse, surveying their work. The walls were adorned with powerful images and stories, each capturing a unique perspective on homelessness. "Do you think we're ready?" Malik asked, a hint of nervousness in his voice. Ethan placed a reassuring hand on his shoulder. "As ready as we'll ever be. Remember, Malik, we're not just showcasing art. We're changing narratives." Just then, a local reporter arrived for a preview. As Ethan began to speak about the project's mission, his voice resonated with passion and conviction. Malik watched, realizing how far they'd both come from their first meeting in the park. That night, as they made final preparations, the weight of what they were about to do hung heavily in the air. They were not just opening an art exhibition. They were taking a stand against powerful interests, giving voice to the voiceless, and possibly changing the future of their community. With a mix of anxiety and determination, they prepared to face whatever challenges the opening day would bring. The morning of the exhibition arrived with a buzz of excitement and tension. Ethan and Malik were at the warehouse before dawn, making last-minute adjustments. As the doors opened, a mix of curiosity seekers, community members, and local officials began to trickle in. To their surprise, several media outlets showed up, attracted by the controversy surrounding the project. Cameras flashed as Ethan and Malik guided the first groups through the exhibit, explaining the stories behind each piece. The artwork struck a chord with many visitors. A painting of a family huddled under a bridge brought tears to one city council member's eyes. A sculpture made from discarded items sparked a heated discussion about waste and resourcefulness. As the day progressed, the crowd grew. Ethan overheard snippets of conversation that ranged from admiration to skepticism. He felt a growing sense of accomplishment, seeing people engage with issues they'd previously ignored. Just as the exhibition reached its peak, Malik's old friend, the one who had warned him about the property scheme, burst in, visibly agitated. He made a scene, loudly accusing Malik of betrayal and threatening to expose secrets that would ruin everything. The room fell silent. All eyes turned to Malik, who stood frozen, unsure how to respond. Ethan quickly stepped in, trying to defuse the situation, but the tension was palpable. Suddenly, Ethan made a decision. He took center stage and began to speak, his voice clear and unwavering. "I have a confession to make," he announced. "Many of you may remember me as Ethan Blackwood, the disgraced CEO." Murmurs rippled through the crowd. Ethan continued, revealing the truth about his downfall, his time on the streets, and how this project had given him new purpose. He spoke about the property scheme, exposing the plans to exploit the homeless population. As Ethan laid bare his past and the current threats to the community, the mood in the room shifted. The authenticity of his words and the power of the art around them created a moment of profound impact. Malik watched in awe as Ethan's revelation transformed the exhibition into something far more significant than they had imagined. It was no longer just about art. It had become a catalyst for change. In the wake of Ethan's revelation, the exhibition took on a new dimension. The crowd, initially shocked, began to rally around Ethan and Malik. Community members stepped forward, sharing their own stories of struggle and resilience. Malik's former friend, faced with the united front of the community, broke down and confessed his role in the property scheme. His admission provided crucial evidence, leading to an immediate investigation by city officials present at the event. As word spread, more people flocked to the exhibition. Local business owners, who had initially opposed the project, now offered their support. One restaurateur announced he would start a job program for homeless individuals. A real estate developer pledged to include affordable housing in his next project. Amidst the turmoil, Ethan pulled Malik aside. "I've made my decision," he said. "I'm going to use that hidden account, but not for myself. We're going to create a permanent community art space." Malik's eyes widened. "Are you sure? That's your chance to get your old life back." Ethan smiled. "This is my life now, Malik. Our project, this community, it's given me something my old life never did." As the day wound down, Ethan and Malik found themselves surrounded by a group of supporters, including some of the artists who had contributed to the exhibition. There was a sense of victory, not just over the immediate threat, but over the apathy and misunderstanding that had long plagued the issue of homelessness. In the weeks that followed, the impact of the exhibition continued to ripple through the community. The art space became a reality, providing a permanent home for their project. It quickly turned into a hub for community engagement, hosting workshops, job fairs, and support groups. Ethan, drawing on his business expertise, helped several of the artists market their work, leading to some unexpected success stories. Malik's own art career took off, with galleries showing interest in his socially conscious pieces. More importantly, the project sparked a citywide conversation about homelessness and community responsibility. New initiatives were launched, and policies were re-examined. As Ethan and Malik stood in their bustling community center months later, they reflected on their journey. What had begun as a chance encounter had transformed not only their lives but the lives of countless others. They had found in each other, and in their shared purpose, a kind of wealth that neither had known before. The richness of true friendship and the fulfillment of making a real difference in the world.